Hello there, my name is Jenny D and this is my channel Bujo in Colour. But today I'm going to be looking at more than just bullet journals. I'm going to be looking at some different types of journals and trying to explain the difference between them. So that's why I've got this big pile here. I'm going to move these out of the way. And I've got my area taped out here so I know where to put each journal. Let's start with a very classic type of journal. Some people might call this one a diary. In fact, it is a diary. This is how I first started my journey into journaling. I started writing a diary when I was 11, and I still write a diary, although I don't keep a diary every day. So I guess it's kind of more like a journal in that I write in it when I'm feeling inspired or when I've got a question that I want to ask myself or to sort through, when I want to put my goals down, if there's something interesting that's happened. So it's basically all writing with just a few bits and pieces of decoration here and there. Not a great deal of decoration because it's mostly for writing. And I now have boxes and boxes of these. I have around about, well, I have kind of one every year from when I was 11. Although this one has got like 2 or 3 years in it. So I found that as I was writing in them less, I didn't need a whole book for 1 year. So that's the classic style, and that's writing a diary. Let's have a look at another one which is fairly classic. And this is a baby album. Now this is an album that I made for my son, or that I filled in for my son. It's actually been through the wars. It went through a house fire, so I was very lucky that you can see the smoke marks. I was very lucky that this survived. So this type of journal has less writing, more decoration and photos, as well as some other mementos that are in there. So this type of journal is predetermined what you're going to write, so it gives you examples, or rather it gives you a format for what you're going to write in there, and you follow the format, which is what I did for my son. Added some photos, me very pregnant. There's my little baby boy before he was born. There are a few empty pages in here, unfortunately, but there are photos. There's lots of writing as well. And this journal is, as you can probably guess, used for as a memory tool. So to remember, well, in this case it was the birth of my son and the first year that we were enjoying having him in our life. So this is a memory tool. The diary writing used to be a memory tool for me, but now it's become more of a... I do have some memories in there of days that are interesting or fun, but it's more of a headspace thing, sort of a brain dump, where I put down things that I want to think about and explore. Okay, so this is a memory tool. This is kind of in between those two, I suppose. It's a scrapbook, but it's not the modern term of a scrapbook. So a modern scrapbook these days is basically photos and decoration and a little bit of journaling. This is the much more traditional style of scrapbook, where people would cut out things that they liked the look of, so things from magazines. There was a little bit of personal exploration in this one. So this one's from 1993. Some New Year's resolution things, some drawings, some ideas, something that happened. So it tends to be clips of bits and pieces that are personal to you. So things that you have enjoyed having in your life. There's a bit of fabric from one of the first dresses I ever made, some cards that I really like the look of. These were the fashions of 1993. Some other sort of self-care type exercises in there. So this is it's a memory tool, but it's also an exploration of self, I think. That's how that I originally started scrapbooking when I was a teenager, and one of my high school teachers started me onto scrapbooks, and this type of scrapbook, which is collecting bits and pieces of your life. Okay, so this was a party that I went to, and some photos, a few photos in there. Another party we had. So Christmas wrappers, a few more photos. So it's a collection of bits and pieces of your life, bits of memories, bits of ideas, and quite a traditional type of scrapbook. And now let's have a look at the modern version of a scrapbook. And these ones are definitely photo based. So I'll just try and get that onto there we go, onto my little stage area there. These are the ones that really took off in America in the 1990s, and they're basically photo based. So they're a memory of your life, and it's just made pretty with papers, stickers. Yeah, so just basically collecting your life in a book. So those are my kids. So that's modern scrapbook. Okay, now let's have a look at art journals. So art journals are a way for people to be creative and to also explore self, and sometimes to help inspire themselves through their daily lives. So this one, I used a lot of acrylic paint in. So I started in 2015, did have some goals and some ideas, like this was my word for the year. I tend to have a word for every year. So an art journal tends to have more art, well, I guess the clue's in the name there. It has artworks and a little bit of soul searching, I suppose, and inspiration. This was a little memory of some birds that we were looking after. So it's a little bit of everything, but it's definitely based around the idea of creating artistic pages, artistic works. Okay, so that's art journals. Now let's have a look at a different type of journal. This journal was one that I created for myself and for other people on Facebook at the time, and this one is a prompted journal, so you are guided through journaling tasks, so you're given advice on what to write. But it was also around about the time that adult colouring was booming. So this is a colouring book, which is also a journal. So when people first got this page, or got this book rather, these pages were just black lines, and they coloured them in, and then they journal in the spaces that are provided. So it's a bit of a cross between an art journal and a memory keeper, and I guess a scrapbook where you're looking at different areas of your life. There's a lot of self-exploration in this journal. Okay, so this one's about friends, this page is about friends, this is about partners, love. So all of these pages, on this side there was a prompt to tell you what to write on this page. And then also on my Facebook group, I had these other pages which also had a prompt which you could print out for free and then colour them and then stick them on the other side. So the book just comes with one colouring page, and then on that side is the prompt. And then what I've done is gone through and put all the free printouts that I made and stuck those in as well. So the idea of this one is to look back. It's kind of a snapshot on your life, on where you are and where you want to be going. So when I look back on this, I started in 2015 and finished it in 2018. So it took quite a few years to finish. But when I look back on this in 25 years' time, I'll be able to have a bit of a snapshot of the type of person I was and what was happening in my life without photos. It's an artistic look at my life. Okay, now let's get down to something that I have been hinting at in some of my other videos, and that's the difference between bullet journals and planners. Okay, so this is my current bullet journal. And here are a few planners. So these planners don't belong to me, this bullet journal does. This is my daughter's recipe planner. And my very good friend Nicole, this is her day-to-day planner, which she very kindly lent me. And I'm just going to show you a few pages out of this that don't have anything personal to her in it, just to give you a bit of an idea about the difference between a bullet journal and a planner. Okay, so let's have a look at the planner first of all. So a planner is a little bit like a day-to-day diary. This one is produced by a company, Life Planner by Erin Condren, and you can order them with different papers and your name on the front, so they're very beautifully created and set out. It is a commercial product, which I don't have any affiliation to. I'm just showing you this to give you an idea of the difference between a bullet journal and a planner, which I know some people can get confused about. And it is definitely, its purpose is to organise your life. Okay, so in this one, it has a few inspirational quotes. Then it has a year overview. So a year calendar basically, where you can make little notes if you want to, or circle important dates. Now these I've covered because my friend has written personal information on here, but this planner has places where you can put some of your goals for the year. So don't call it a dream, call it a plan. And then underneath there's some boxes where you can write what your plans are for different things, so that you can work on them through the year. So it's like a New Year's resolution type idea, where you put your plans and how you're going to achieve them. And then we get into the nitty-gritty of the planner. And in this particular planner, each page has, or each month has a little quote, and it has a tab so that you can find it easily. I'll just show you the side of the planner. So it's got these tabs so that you can find the months really easily. And each month has a calendar overview, a space for some notes, and then it goes into day-to-day planning, so where you can write down tasks that you're going to, or events that you need. Sorry, I'm just going to grab my cat. Ooh. So you can plan your life and what events are happening on certain days. Now this planner is pre-printed. It has the month and the year and the days pre-printed, so you can only use it for this year. Once this year's gone, this planner isn't really of any use as a planner anymore. You can use them for other things, like some people use them, old diaries and old planners, as sticker collections where they put their stickers in the pages. But basically it's a diary where you have the days set out. It's got a reasonable amount of decoration done by the company, and if you want to, let me see if I can find one that's not got anything too personal on it. Yep, here we go. So if you want to, you can add other personal touches. So my friend has added some washi tape and some stickers to give this page a little bit more oomph. So that's a day-to-day planner, and at the back, this particular planner provides you with stickers and some more inspirational quotes. You have a planner for the next year, which is very handy for the next year. And it also has some dot grid paper for taking notes. So this is the notes section. See? Notes. Plus a few adult colouring pages in there for some stress relief. So this is a very beautiful planner. And my friend likes to get these every year, and I have envied them for a long time, I must say. Maybe in the future I might choose to use one. So that's a day-to-day planner, and then they're particularly good for people who have a sort of a routine that's fixed, or a routine that's quite busy, I guess. Okay, I'm going to show you one more type of planner. This one's a recipes planner that my daughter owns. Again, this is done in a format that prompts you as to how you're going to put the information in. So this one's obviously for recipes, and it gives you a list for ingredients, or space to list ingredients, space to do the method, and some other information there. And in the very back, there's a little pocket which you can put any other recipes that you, or pictures or something that you might choose to use. And so there's one that my daughter's filled out, just to give you an idea. So these planners are a little bit more rigid than a bullet journal, so that's why I'm preferring bullet journals at the moment. And as you can see, they're definitely for planning. They're not generally for memories, although my friend's beautiful planners, she can keep them and use them as a memory reminder for later on. Okay, so let's have a look at the structure of a bullet journal. Now, this bullet journal I have been using for 3 months now, and prior to this, I had another notebook that I was using as my bullet journal. And let's have a look at the structure of a bullet journal. So generally, they start with an index page so that you can find your entries easily. Some of them, different brands, have the pages pre-numbered. This particular one doesn't, so I had to write in my own numbers, but I kind of made that a bit creative as well. So generally you have an index, and then you have a future log, which is months coming up or years coming up, but I chose not to do that, although I wrote it in the index, and then I changed my mind and I decided not to do that. So the difference between a bullet journal and a planner is basically this. A bullet journal is just empty pages. You can do whatever you want. You can use it as a planner. You can use it as a memory journal type book. You can use it as a recipe collection if you want. You can collect, so you can do your collections of the books that you've read, the movies that you've seen, people's phone numbers, anything, any kind of collection you want in there. Generally, they're also used for planning. So this is the planning part of my bullet journal. So I tend to have a calendar in there so that I can have a quick reference when I'm writing my dailies, or when I'm trying to plan what days and dates I have for that month. Then you generally have a monthly overview, as in the planner that was done in like a calendar format, but this is just a list. And then each month has a task list, so tasks that you want to achieve that month. Now, something that I found bullet journals generally don't have is something that I've added to this one. So I've seen other people do it as well, but it's just not sort of a traditional thing to add in bullet journals, and that is, when I can find it, here we go, yearly goals. So bullet journals tend to focus on month to month, week to week, and day to day, but they don't generally have a very long-term sort of goal setup, which I've added in this bullet journal, and as I said, other people have added. So my bullet journal has my long-term goals for this year, and I'm actually getting another journal soon which will be life-term goals. So they're things that they may not happen in 1 year, they may not happen in 5 years, they may happen in 10 years. I may spend the rest of my life trying to do them, but so they're life-term or best life goals. Then we have the monthly goals, monthly tasks, and then you get down into the weeklies or dailies. So I started, originally when I started doing my bullet journal, I just wrote it down dailies, and then as I got more experience and as I saw other people's videos, I decided to divide them into weeks, and I found that very useful. So now I know where I can find Monday. Okay, so these ones are all pre-planned. I won't go in this too much because I've already looked through this bullet journal, but just to show you that bullet journals generally have monthly overviews, then weekly overviews and daily overviews, plus collections. So I don't actually have collections in this one yet, so things like books I've read or I've just gone blank. Books I've read or films I've seen or things I own or whatever. So this one doesn't have collections yet, but I will be doing that later. And if I was to do it, I would probably do it, and probably eventually will do some collections in the very back. So at the moment in the back, and this is another feature that I've seen a lot of bullet journalists do, is test pages. So, and some bullet journals do actually have test pages built into the journal. So this one I've this is a Nuna journal, and I just found that a lot of the pens I had were ghosting through or bleeding through, and I really wanted something that wasn't going to ghost or bleed through at all, because I like to do a lot of artwork with a lot of markers. So there was my watercolor test, my markers test, and so I actually put my future log right at the back. So I'm just going to write down some appointments and perhaps some goals as I get towards closer to 2019. So that's where I ended up putting my future log, is right at the back. So I hope that's cleared things up a little bit. Now that you can see that the purpose of a bullet journal is to plan, but it's also to collect and to I think it's to help you work towards goals, whereas a planner just plans tasks generally, depending on the type of planner you have. Some of them are very goal-oriented, and some of them have different sections in them, like some planners have a recipe section in it, or they might have a travel section in this where you can plan your next trip, or they might have a spot for you to put all your addresses, like traditional diaries did, or they might have a spot for planning personal things and for planning work tasks. But planners tend to be more structured, whereas a bullet journal is free and you can pretty much do in them what you like. So they're a bit more like a traditional type of journal, I suppose. So I hope you've enjoyed this look into different types of journals. I hope it has cleared up some questions that you might have about different types of journals and different types of planners. If you do have any more questions, please feel free to comment on them, or even if you've got other things that you'd like to add about planners and journals, please feel free to send me a comment. I'd love it if you could give me a thumbs up for a like, and also if you want to subscribe for future videos. So I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.